Billy Hutchinson. A few weeks back, you attended a press event to announce a fight that I would presume is the fight of your life. Can you reflect back and tell me what your emotions was at that particular time?
Well, I was a little bit disappointed that Adrien wasn't at the press conference, but at the same time, we got the message across that we wanted to, which was that obviously we not only accepted the fight, but we're prepared and will be prepared to show up June 9th and win the fight. So while it was a little anticlimactic, I think that our point got across.
Now, I spoke with Kevin Cunningham about you, and he says that he doesn't know much about you, but he believes you're a hard worker. And he also mentioned MMA. Have you had any MMA experience? And if so, please speak about that and how that would help you in fighting Adrien Broner.
I have had MMA experience. I've had quite a few. I've trained MMA for quite some time. I've wrestled in the past, and I've done a little bit of everything just because I enjoy combat sports in general. Obviously, I prefer to stand and fight, which is why I've focused more on boxing. But I am certainly not afraid of any combat one on one with another individual. I look forward to it. I enjoy it. I like the competition. So it makes no difference to me. As it relates to how it will benefit me, I'm not sure that it will directly relate to this fight, but experience and fighting in front of large crowds and being under the lights is not new to me. I won't be surprised. I won't be gun shy. I'm not going to be happy to be there. I'm here to put on a performance, and that's what you're going to see June 9th.
What do you know about Adrien Broner as a fighter? And what impresses you most about him as a fighter?
Listen, he's probably a Hall of Famer at this point. He's a four-time world champion. You can't discredit that. You must respect that. He's obviously put in the work, and he's got a long amateur pedigree along with a storied professional career. You know, there's something to be said about that, and obviously, I respect that. However, when we get into the ring, there won't be any of that respect until after the fight.
Logically, do you find it almost close to impossible to prepare for what Adrien Broner you're going to get on June 9th?
Yeah. I mean, we're not sure what version of him will show up, but the best thing that we can do is prepare for the best Adrien Broner, right? I mean, it's our job to be prepared for any situation. So, I will certainly be prepared for the best Adrien Broner, and whichever version shows up, that's on him. But I won't be surprised either way.
First and foremost, when you got the call from Don King, where were you? What were you doing? And what was your thought process?
My thought process was yes, absolutely. We'll take the fight. This was a fight that I wanted and sought out. I actively tried to resource this fight. When I found out that Adrien Broner signed with Don King, I contacted my coaches and everybody and tried to get them in contact with whoever they needed to make that happen, because I knew that it would be possible to get this fight and utilize the opportunity.
Now, you intimated that you sought Adrien Broner out. Are you saying that you wanted to fight him before he came to DK?
No, I years ago I was involved with promoting boxing matches as well. I promoted a few of my own shows that I fought on, and on a few of those shows we had Don King fighters on the card. So I knew that our contacts had contacts at Don King, and I knew that there would be a resource to at least make it known that I would accept the fight if that was a avenue that they wanted to travel down. So I just wanted to make sure that the contacts that I have knew that I was ready and available and willing to take the fight.
Now, you're aware now that this fight has a much bigger stake than just a victory over Adrien Broner, as there is a possibility that the winner of this fight would be seeking a WBC title. How much has that inspired you and got your juices flowing?
Well, it's great. I mean, it's a cherry on the top, if you will, but I'm solely focused on this fight and the game plan and what I need to do to secure the victory in this fight, and then we can analyze all options after that. It's certainly a bonus, and it's certainly something that is nice to know that the path leads to something that big, but I can't lose sight or focus on the task at hand June 9th, and I won't do that.
Now, in 45 years in this business, I've seen it all. But I don't think I've ever seen a guy go from the courtroom to a boxing ring. Tell me about your lawyer. Tell me about your legal background, that sort of thing, what kind of law you practice, and why would someone with such an esteemed profession want to get into the squared circle, if you will, and mix it up to mess that pretty face up of yours?
Well, I appreciate that. I am licensed to practice in the state of Pennsylvania and in Florida. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law, and right now I work with a private equity group that has quite a few different business entities across the United States, and I focus solely in the corporate sphere. I do a lot of business and contractual law, and I really like and enjoy working with different businesses in and around their growth stages. Taking a young startup and expanding it and helping them through all of the challenges that they'll face through that climb, right? A lot of businesses have mistakes that they'll make during that phase where they're just so excited and running 100 miles an hour. And it's my job to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed during that phase. And I really enjoy that. So that's what brought me down here to Florida to expand a few of those entities down here. And, I've enjoyed that. But to answer your question, as far as why I would get into a professional fight against someone who's very capable, and what entices me about that is just the competition. I'm a fighter, both intellectually and physically, and I relish the challenge for myself. I think it's important as people to push ourselves to our maximum capabilities. And I don't think that I have very many limitations, and I like to stretch that and prove that, and see how far we can take this thing. But I promise that it won't be for lack of effort. I'm an all-in kind of guy. I have left no stones unturned, and I'm very prepared for this fight.
Very few, I can really say this about boxers, are as successful outside of the ring as they are in the ring. In the ring is where they butter their bread. It appears that you've already buttered your bread. Give me a little information about your family background.
So both of my parents had nothing growing up, and they instilled in me that hard work and perseverance will eventually pay off. My mother, right out of high school, my mother started a job for the minimum wage of $2.10 an hour at that time. And if you fast forward 22 years later, she was the senior vice president of that same company. So she put in her dues, and she went back to school, and she did all of that, and really flourished in her career from nothing, was handed nothing, was given nothing. And I think that, things like that, my father started a small business and over the years had his ups and downs and had all of the lows and a little bit of the highs and persevered through that. And I think that me living through that, seeing the stresses, but ultimately seeing the perseverance instilled in me that, I can do the same thing, that, with hard work and determination, I can find my successes as well.
And your dad?
My dad is a small business owner. He has a auto body and mechanic shop in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that I'm actively involved in. It's been a joy to watch him grow in his business. He's been there for probably 40 years now. Started just towing vehicles and then expanded into a 5-bay mechanic shop, full auto body shop. Has secured multiple contracts with valuable vendors around the city, and yeah, very, very proud of that.
Now, I don't know if you're married or if you're a bachelor, but if you're a bachelor, you got to be one of the hottest commodities in the state of Pittsburgh, in the state of Pennsylvania, and in more likely the nation. I mean, are you a bachelor? Can you speak about your personal life?
I am not. I'm happily married to my wife, Caitlin. We've been together for about 13 years now, married for 2, and we're living full time down here in Naples, where I'm at now, and very, very happy.
Any children?
Not yet, but certainly in the plans.
So obviously, being a lawyer, you negotiated your own deal with DK. I mean, DK is uh, insanely brilliant, and he never loses a negotiation. How did that process go about? You in the room, a counselor with Don King, who could have easily been a lawyer had he chose to go down that path.
To be honest with you, there was no negotiation. I said yes because truly and honestly speaking, it was all about the opportunity for me. Um, I I'm certainly not making an insane amount of money on this fight. Nothing. It was not about any of that for me. For me, this was about challenging myself in a fight that I knew that I could come in here and win and show the boxing world what I'm all about. And from there, we can negotiate for the next fight. So to answer your question, the next negotiation after I win this fight will be the interesting one because I'll have a little more leverage next time.
So, how has training camp been going? How many different sparring partners have you brought in? We're approaching 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks away from the fight now. So, are you still engaging in sparring? I know the word work is a constant thing. And what does your weight look like as you prepare for this big event?
This has been the best camp of my career. Honestly, the caliber of guys that I've been able to acquire for sparring. I won't mention any names specifically, but I've been able to get phenomenal work, world class work that has helped me prepare. My weight has been on point. I'm a 135-pound fighter, so 147 is a dream to me. I'm eating. I'm loving life. I don't have to cut weight. I've enjoyed being able to lift a little bit more than I would have for a 135-pound fight. I've been able to keep on a little bit of muscle mass that I usually would shed off. So that's been more enjoyable to be honest with you. But the camp has been great. I've been training 2 and 3 times a day, every day, with some great teammates. I brought some of my coaches and team down from Pittsburgh to have a camp here with me at my home in Naples, and it's been great. It's been nothing but great.
So, how many miles are you running a day? How many rounds are you sparring? That sort of thing, without giving away any company secrets.
We've done all the miles, we've done all the rounds. We are fully prepared. It's one of those things where it's best for me now, as I am getting a little bit older, to train smart just as much as I'm training hard, right? Rest is a big factor. Recovery is a big factor. And we've seen great improvements in my performances as we continue to structure and play with the ways in which we train daily, when we train, at optimum physicality, when we train more strategic. So it's been a science that we've learned to perfect in the last few months.
Have you trained differently for this fight? Has your diet been different for this fight as opposed to any of your other previous fights?
My diet's been different just because I don't have to cut the weight, which is great. So that's been more enjoyable. The training has been a little bit different just because stylistically we wanted to focus on certain things as opposed to maybe past opponents. Obviously, Adrien Broner is different than any opponent that I have faced in the past. So we have a different strategy that we're putting forth, and that has altered the training just slightly. But all in all, not really. You know, we've the team that I have now, we've been together for about 10 years, and they know me and I know them, and we kind of feed off of each other, and we've got a great chemistry in the gym, and it's been really enjoyable, and we've been enjoying the process and learning and getting better every day, and we're very optimistic as we continue to wind down this camp.
I've heard Mike Tyson say that everybody has a plan until they get hit. In this instance, you've not been in front of Adrien Broner at a press conference or anything. That is soon going to change with the first press conference the Tuesday before the fight, and then obviously at the weigh-in. Are you prepared for what could unfold? Because what makes Adrien Broner is that he's as insanely, wildly unpredictable outside of the ring as he is in the ring.
I am prepared for that. And the reason that I say that is because obviously only I can control what I can control. Adrien is going to do or not do whatever that is that's in his mind. But what I can do is I can be a professional, I can show up, I can be prepared, and I can fight my butt off June 9th. That's what I can do, and that's what I will do.
Go ahead. You froze a little bit. Go ahead.
I just said that I can only control what I can control. But what I can control is that I can be prepared, I can show up, and I can fight my butt off June 9th, and that's what I will do.
You ever dream that you would be in an event promoted by the greatest promoter in the history of the world, Don King? And what has that experience been like? Just knowing at 91 years old, every record that he breaks now is one of his own. That this is a man who, when all is said and done, will go down as the greatest promoter in the history of the world.
Well, it's all for all the reasons you just mentioned. It's a great opportunity to utilize this platform and to perform in a way that will garner his attention, and he will want to continue to work with me and help me in my career, hopefully after this fight. You know, this is an opportunity for me to show Don King what I can do and what I can present to the boxing world and him, and he can help me utilize my talents to the best of our abilities, and utilize those promoting skills for me. So this is an opportunity for me to get his eyes, get his attention.
Now, when you look at the entire landscape, you know, of boxing, there's been some big events that has occurred and are going to occur. You have Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. They're finally going to get it on in a mega fight. Gervonta Davis just fought in a mega fight. What's the ideal weight for you? You mentioned 135. That's another loaded division in the sport of boxing. What's an ideal weight for you?
135 to 140. 135 is certainly a cut for me, but you know, everybody cuts weight. It is what it is. It takes some discipline, but that's what we do, right? As fighters, we cut weight. That goes without saying. So 135 is certainly there. 140 is certainly there. So that would be my main focus is those two divisions there.
So obviously you're focused on Adrien Broner for June 9th, but you're trying to go as far as you possibly can in the sport of boxing. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And are there any fighters that, even in the history of the game, that you've drawn something from and maybe incorporate any of their stylistically? Does any have you adopted any styles from any former champions?
Yeah, I'm certainly a student of the game, and I try to take and steal things from all the greats. I watch a lot of film. I'm a big fan of Miguel Cotto. I really liked his style. I really liked his left hook to the body. I thought that was great. Roberto Duran, arguably one of the greatest fighters ever. He's never been in a boring fight ever, right? So that's somebody that I really look to and study. Marcos Maidana is another great example of a fun, action-packed fighter that I like to pull things from. A lot of fighters in that style. I like the fighters that even Canelo and Oscar Valdez and a lot of the fighters that are coming out of the Eddie Reynoso camp are very fundamentally sound, and they do a lot of things the right way, which I think is great to see for the sport of boxing, just to bring back that general consensus that doing things the right way is like cool again. You look at Canelo, he's got his hands up, he's got his guard high, and he's doing his thing in there, phenomenal footwork. And it's like we got away from that a little bit, I think, from some of the recent champions. And it's great to see some of those hardcore and disciplined fundamentals coming back.
Well, June 9th is not that far away. I'm looking at the pristine palm trees behind you in beautiful Naples, Florida. And I'm looking at a guy. I mean, John, I got to tell you, we got a couple guys at DK Stable that are really, really handsome. I mean, these guys are really, really good looking, and they're very well spoken. And I'm going to wish you absolutely all the best on June 9th. And I will say personally for me, you are a breath of fresh air, and we're waiting with a bated breath to see if Billy Hutchinson can fight on the level that Adrien Broner is going to bring to the table.
I thank you for that, sir, and I guarantee you that you will be pleasantly surprised June 9th.
Thank you, man.